episode 14. Thank you for joining us back here at Off Market. Once again, we're welcoming back our golden gavel. I nearly said the golden goblet.
The golden goblet. Oh my God.
And the Gosnell's golden boy, Shane.
We're all golden.
Welcome. I like that. It's sticking. We're in quite an incredible location today, thanks to BGC. We are at the BGC Home, surrounded by 1,000 square metres of home building inspiration. The biggest showroom of its kind in WA. Have you had a quick look around, guys?
Very impressive.
It is very impressive.
I felt sorry for the receptionist. Their phone was just lighting up.
I know, but do you know what? I walked in with a young family and I felt really like, how exciting for you.
Mate,
No, not
serious,
that.
it's a
Like, how
serious
exciting
setup.
for you guys. You guys are picking out your new home. You know,
It's
like
amazing.
fun.
It's awesome.
It's a bit better than the old stick down the boards.
Yeah.
That's when you
amazing,
used to
amazing.
get like the board and it'd be like, there's the two carpets, there's the
yeah,
tile.
yeah, the shadow board.
It's a bit different.
Yeah,
So
yeah. No, it's very cool.
It's come a long way.
Very
So-
interactive, mate.
It is interactive. I got a chance to catch up with the BGC head of operations earlier, general manager of operations, to tell us all about BGC Home. So we're going to throw to Bruno Oswald, and he's going to tell us all about it. Bruno, we're standing in the middle of this incredible showroom. Tell me, is this something that's unique to BGC?
Very much so. We feel it's one of a kind in Western Australia, if not nationally. So we have over 1,000 square metres of an immersive showroom experience here that's exclusively for our BGC housing group clients, but we also invite the general public if they were looking to have some information sessions around finance and also interior design and just wanting to know the building process.
So anyone can wander through?
Yes, that's correct, and they can also enjoy a complimentary barista coffee.
So Bruno, tell us about the thinking behind the showroom and how it's changed your customer experience.
We didn't want this to be just a selection centre. We wanted it to be a fully immersive place, and that's why you have such a large showroom here. It's over 1,000 square metres, and people, when they're looking at things like bricks and roof cover, they're not looking over their shoulder, looking at appliances and tapware. It really gives people the time and space to have that non-pressure environment to make their selections.
Was there thinking behind the design in terms of the order of how people are walking through and selecting all of their products?
Definitely very much. So we have different zones throughout the showroom, and we have people walking through what we refer to as the portals. So they start with the exterior selection first, and then it comes into interior selections like carpets, colours and paints. Then they come through and to look at their appliances, and then now here we're in the bathroom section. And then also we have a technology hub, which we have a fully inbuilt home theatre system, and also energy solutions for 6-star energy, PV solar management and the like.
So are there any other changes that you're anticipating in the building process? Is there anything else happening overseas that you see being implemented over here in the near future?
Definitely BGC, we've always been quite an innovative company. We currently use virtual reality to help our design process, but in the future we may even have augmented reality and holograms and things like that that could help people have a fully immersive experience. The technology's there, we're always investigating into something new.
Interesting, so we could just get rid of all of this and just put some goggles on?
Well, I think for some people you could, but I think people still like to come and touch and feel, and that's where this showroom is like at its peak, that everything you want to have a look in your home is here on display.
It's a tactile process.
Yes,
so
very much so. Yeah.
Beautiful. Well, thank you so much for your time, Bruno. It's a pleasure. We're going to go have a look around.
Yeah, great. Let's go have a look.
Let's go. So, a really incredible, innovative resource. Anyone who wants to have a look around, it's open to all. So you can come down, check it out anytime. They're willing to hold events here, anything. So give them a call or just come into Osborne Park and check it out. And we are straight into Under the Hammer, guys. This week, I wanted to talk to you guys about a topic that it's close to our hearts here at Off Market, and it's been coming up a little bit. I want to talk about the off-market sale.
Yep.
Because I've been hearing a lot more about it lately. So I wanted to get, first of all, for you guys to tell me, what is an off-market sale?
Yep. Well, I guess the thing that I think defines it is it's not open to public. People don't know about it typically. You're matching a buyer potentially with a property. And I think where people are starting to, because it's so being used so often, I think people are starting to blur the lines between what's off market and what's actually really just not maybe going to the major portals and going to Facebook or what have you. So I think off market sales typically really would be that no one knew about them. You've got a buyer and you literally find a property that suits and you match them together.
Right.
But what we're seeing at the moment, I think you're starting to see it a lot through the western suburbs, especially where stock's obviously a lot tighter. It's feeding through to the Facebook or to the database, really everything but REA. So it's not really an off-market sale. It's probably just a different way of going about it. So you're seeing a lot of off-market, but realistically, most of the public would have seen those properties through that targeted marketing campaign, through Facebook, or we have listed this property, it's not on the market yet, get in touch with us. It's not really an off-market sale because you're putting it out to the public. So I think that's where the lines get a bit blurred.
Because a lot of the off-market sales I've seen or been advertised as off-market, it is a database. It's not on Facebook, but it is a database advertisement.
So it isn't really off-market then, because you're on the market, you've employed a selling agent to go to market to find a buyer. The way they go about that obviously varies, but I think a not true off-market sale had no intention of selling, hadn't engaged.
It's opportunistic.
Yeah.
And what I think they've done, Shane and Jess, is there's been a lot of, as you say, mate, there's been a lot of lines become blurred. And rewind the whole tape to the core ethos of a real estate agent. Okay, so the core ethos of a real estate agent or our industry is to achieve the best possible result for the seller. We work for the seller simply because if you follow the chain of process, they're the ones that pay us to do the job. Now, what gets the seller the best result ultimately is to create as much competition around that product as possible. That's it in a nutshell. Would you agree, mate? Okay, so what's happened is those lines become blurred, and what has been an off-market sale, and Shane sort of summed that up perfectly. People are starting to now use it as a selling strategy. They're saying, you know, look, it's no hassle, it's no fuss, but is it actually not the right money also? You know, like, because at the end of the day, let's face it, we've shifted from a buyer's market to a seller's market. So where I'm struggling to say and find sense of it, why would you push saying we do off-market sales when we're in a seller's market and there's a plethora of buyers out there? I mean, it just to me, I struggle with the concept.
And I think it comes back to, and it sounds a bit of an old adage, but it's very hard to undersell and over-market property. But very simply, if I stood out the front with a pizza box all day saying for sale, unless you drove past or the neighbour across the road saw it, the likelihood of finding a buyer is limited. So in a market where you do have a huge, I guess, that demand, short amount of time on market, which is obviously halved since probably this time last year, I struggle to see why you wouldn't go to market.
Okay. Let me put this to you, because I had a chat with our friend Adam Nemoski this morning, because I wanted to get his take on this. Great agent, high volume. He said he's done 21 transactions in the last month. 4 to 5 of those he would classify, or he said were off market, but they were he said at any given time for you know, the standard type of property I'm selling at the moment, I've got 5 to 6 buyers who are missing out. So when I'm listing, those buyers are seeing that property first, and and they're buying it.
And that's probably because I guess with Adam, he's working in that 3x2, a lot of villa, townhouse, apartment market. So to a degree, they're relatively the same age, same size square meterage, same finishes. When you're talking, let's say a 2,000 square metre block in Cottesloe, which again, a lot of these off-market sales are happening in areas that the transactions rate, there might only be 30 homes a year sell. Peppermint Grove, what, 10 a year, maybe 15? So to see an off-market just doesn't make sense to me. I don't work that market.
So in a different market, it means almost it.
But also for someone like Adam, Jess has got a very active database. He's got strong control of the market. You know, if somebody misses out, he could probably think, oh, I spoke to those people last year, wonder where they're at now, I'll give them a call. Now, that's great real estate, and that's a true off-market thing. But to use it as a marketing tool, that's where the lines are.
Okay.
I guess if you look at how many, let's just say, and we use Peppermint Grove for example, there's a 2,000 square metre lot with a beautiful home, 2 streets in from the river. They're pretty unique property. So why would you feel that you wouldn't want to go to market? Unless there's privacy, that's different. A lot of owners want privacy, no problem. But you still really want to make sure you're putting it out there to people to see if you're trying to really say that we've got true market value. That's one person that does do it really well in Sydney. She does it as she's not saying it's off market. She's very clear. It's Lisa Novak from Novak Properties.
Up in North Shore.
She basically says, look, this is a part of the campaign. We're going to go to the social media, go to my database, then we go to REA. But at no point it's marketed as off market, because as soon as you start saying, here I am at da-da-da-da, you're on the market.
Well, that's essentially what Adam was saying as well. He said it's an early part of the campaign. The sellers know what they want, and really for someone to buy it before it goes onto REA, they need to pay a little bit more for it. So
and no different, I guess, than auction day. If you want to take it off the market before auction day, potentially you've got to make it appeal to the owners.
You've got to remove competition.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We have had a couple of different people actually send some results in this week, and it looks like everyone is going gangbusters. Sample Properties sent through, they sold 3 this week, all above asking. They've all been in that 300 to 450 range, all sold about 20 above asking. I spoke to Steph Dobro yesterday. She said she's just cannot even keep up.
Yep.
So good, really good
Very good.
results and signs coming through.
Yeah.
Stock's still tight.
Yes.
But I think if you get it and it's priced right, it moves quickly.
Yeah.
I think there's good depth of buyer.
Oh, mate, it is like the volume of people going through properties is staggering. Like, I know someone that put a property on the market on Saturday in Wembley, and she had 100, I think it was 112, 120 people through the open on Saturday. Like, and they just
Say that again.
there's a property in that Leanne O'Leary put on the market in Keene Street in Wembley on Saturday, and had about 120 people through it. That's just Saturday, but those stories are emerging everywhere. You know,
And it obviously certain sectors of the market, like I'm sure that as much as I would like to think the market is hot, would you say maybe a third of those actual buyers may be in a position to act?
Yeah.
But when you're starting to see that level of numbers and that inquiry, it's a flow-on effect that they're starting to do their research, which means, again, that depth of buyer will
How many
continue.
are you getting through your home opens at the moment, Shane? That's
More
the
than usual.
benchmark.
Well, when I'm working...
1 to
double
2?
digits, mate.
Well, when I'm working, I've started out in the southeast corridor. I'm getting about 4 or 5 at the moment. But in my midweeks, from my database, 15 to 20. But that's right. After that, after that second viewing, and that it heat comes out of it a bit. So it's really important that you get it right that first couple of weeks. But the closer you get back to the city, you're still getting 15, 20, 20 plus. But again, I break it down to how many actual buyers. Entry-level housing, you find not everyone has to go look at homes to see what they're going to get. They tend to do a lot on the phone. When you start to spend $1 million, you sort of want to see what's out there and what they're going for before you make a commitment to either sell or buy. So I think it's,
Beautiful, love that. All right, we are going to travel across the country now. We're going to take a flight. No, we're not. But in the industry this week, you spoke to James Tostevin, one of Australia's best agents, director of Marshall White in Melbourne.
It's a bit of an idol, actually.
He's a bit of an idol
So
for
when
you.
I was growing up, it was Shane Warne, but now it's people like James Tostevin, so it's a bit sad. But no, he's an incredible operator. I think if anyone has been in real estate for a while, obviously you know he's been through. He actually started in property management. I didn't know he actually started in property management.
Yeah, he said he did 3 years in property management.
So the incredible operator. So it's really good to pick his brain a bit. Obviously, serious operator in a serious company, and they're obviously in a pretty tough situation. Didn't make me feel so bad for what we've been through the last 10 years, actually, in speaking to him, because it's pretty tough conditions.
So, mate, we know this. We went for years, not months.
But no, great operator.
Beautiful. So we're going to throw to that interview right now.
So very honoured to have one of the most amazing real estate agents for up to about 35 years, I believe James has been in the industry. If you haven't heard of James, you'd be having to live under a rock. And we thought, given what challenging times are happening around the country with COVID, especially in Victoria, we thought we'd speak to the gun himself, James Tostevin. So thanks for joining us, James.
Pleasure, Shane. Happy to have a chat. Thank you.
Beautiful. I guess in all your years, is this the most challenging times you've worked through?
Definitely. I thought the Royal Commission, Shane, was interesting, or post-Royal Commission. We had sort of 18 months of a challenging market, and obviously having been in sales for 32, we've had some ups and downs along the way because of economic conditions. But I'd be really surprised. Well, it depends on your market, I guess. For Melbourne and Victorians, it's been far more challenging, and not being dismissive of what other people have gone through in the rest of Australia, but clearly it's gone for a much longer period of time, even stage 3 through to stage 4. It's sort of going to be a 10-week sort of thing. And as someone said to me, or quite a few clients have said to me recently and again today, it sort of felt like the last 6 months or so, it's sort of, we had a small little period where we got back to a degree of normality, but it hasn't felt like that, if that makes sense. So definitely the most challenging period, because there's so many restrictions on what we can and can't do, and so many vendors that are keeping their powder dry and saying we're better to wait till things settle down.
And how do you keep the guys upbeat? I guess obviously you're not seeing them face to face a lot of the time. I believe you're working from home, is that right?
Yeah, and I am. I think what we've found has worked really, really well. I think it's any senior person, director, you don't want to come across as, you've got to be real and very genuine, call it authentic, very natural, as Chris Hanley always talks about, who's one of the best agents in the country. Chris is an amazing person, as you know. But he always talks about being very natural, and I think people see through you if you're not. But I think there's definitely been moments where I've been absolutely fine and upbeat, and other times I'm thinking, is this thing ever going to end?
How do you see the next 6 months playing out over there? Like, will it become back to normality after this, or where do you see home opens?
It'll be a gradual thing. I'd be really surprised if we had open for inspections or public auctions. In fact, I'd be staggered if we had them for the balance of this year, no matter what happens with the numbers. I think they'll be very conservative, given the crowds that can gather, especially at our auctions. We can get some big numbers at our auctions. So looking forward, I think we'll have... Look, I think agents are craving the ability to do appraisals and private appointments because that's our new normal at the moment, Shane. So the rest of the stuff will probably have to wait.
And the first thing you're going to do when you come out of lockdown, what's it going to be?
Well, I'd love to say I'm going to go on holiday. I can't wait to go to Noosa. I'm a real Noosa man. I clearly won't be going overseas for a while. And of course, won't even be able to go and watch my beloved Blues playing because all of it's interstate. And Brisbane quite rightfully got awarded the AFL Grand Final. But no, look, I think for me, it's without a doubt, number one, we'll be seeing my kids. I've got 5 kids between 24 and 29. And then Jack, who's 4. Jack's obviously with Sim and I, my wife and I. And then seeing mum and dad. So seeing family, a couple of grandchildren, it'll be absolutely priority one for me. And then beyond that, catching up with friends. And it just depends what we're allowed to do. But that'll be very, very high on my agenda before worrying about, holidays and footy and those sort of things.
I really appreciate your time, James. I know you're a very, very busy man, regardless of the lockdown.
Pleasure, Shane.
Wish you all the best.
I hope that's
Australia
some benefit to people.
All the training, mate. A lot of reps around Australia have you to thank. So thanks again, and thanks for sharing your time.
Good on you. Thanks, Shane. Good on you, mate.
Lessons there for everyone in Australia.
Very
That
tough.
was very tough times.
Yeah.
That was about a 15-minute interview in total, so we're going to release that as its own podcast. So if you are interested in hearing the whole thing, then look it up, Off Market Perth, and you can listen to all of the wisdom coming out of Melbourne at the moment.
One of the snippets of that, and we've spoken of this before, is just how important James said not having that office atmosphere where his younger reps aren't hearing those conversations. I think in any environment, it's okay for a novelty, but being around experienced operators like that, hearing those conversations can fast track someone's growth.
It's one of the massive things. I wrote a big article last Friday actually about that very thing because COVID's driven a lot of people home, obviously, but getting people back into the office. And people say, I'm very comfortable at home and all the rest of it. But the problem is when you're at home, you're only operating in the macro. And the reality is it's the micro is where the nuggets sit. And it's hearing that word, having that conversation, what's happening here, what's happening. You don't get that by being remote.
100%.
And it's really important that we do migrate back into the office to be in that
And for
micro.
headspace too.
Mental health, mate, absolutely.
That's important for any office. I know for Alana and I at Crib, we... having people listen to the conversations that we're having with clients, and that's how you learn. That's how you get better. So,
Are you allowing Chris back in the office yet?
yeah, but he's on the other side.
Not far to travel for the chords today.
I was the one today. I forgot my script. I know. Again, so we're going to jump to Hood Highlight. We're going to welcome our special guest on, Ryan. Come on down, Ryan D. Rozario, Dezo. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
How do you pronounce it?
Di Rozario.
That sounds better.
D. Rozario.
Rozario.
I was watching something the other day, and it was an Australian saying "Bonjono," and I was like, "Oh my god!"
I'm sure it wasn't Brad Pitt in.
No,
Glorious Bastards?
it was like some rubbish show, and they go, "Oh, Bonjono." I was like, "What is that, mate?" Anyway.
Says Jess Donnelly.
I know, Donnelly. Dono
from Romo.
So, now, Ryan, a little bit of a change from our usual guests, because normally we've got a real estate agent on in this section talking about their farm area, their suburb. Today, we've got you on. You're a sales consultant with Oswald Homes, previously with ABN Group, so really good range, I guess, from kind of your project home up to the higher end stuff. And because we're here at BGC, we thought, why not have you on? We've been talking a little bit about builders grants and that kind of thing. So, Shane, do you want to take it away?
Happy to take on Ryan, that beautiful last name. Ryan, we're actually very lucky to have you because most people in the building industry, I know Jeremy, who's at the background there, been going very well. So I'm surprised you're not in the Bahamas with how many sales have been taking place.
Thought about going to Cocos Keeling for a little bit,
but you guys do deserve it because it's been so tough for so long.
Yeah.
So to see actually good operators like yourself to still be and get through that, I think obviously the client's going to win. I'm sure you'll start to see an influx of guys might be less experienced, which will probably change the perception
Definitely
a bit, like
happened,
we've
yep.
had. But tell us about, I guess, from 12 months ago to today, how rapid's the change been?
It was literally something that happened overnight, and especially after, obviously, with the lockdown, with COVID and everything like that, certainly in most builders' offices, everyone was working from home, and there was absolute skeleton staff there. There's redundancies through a lot of groups and things like that. There was talk of these grants for quite some time, on a state level, even before COVID and everything like that. Obviously, the federal 25 was announced, which was a nice little boost along. The industry was sort of coming up a little bit before that anyway, I think, April, May sort of thing. Then we heard that this extra 20 might be announced by Mark McGowan. I remember waking up at about earlier than I normally do, 7:30 on, I think it was a Sunday morning. And I saw the headline, and my thought was honestly just like, uh-oh. Right, and I got out of bed like right then, and I probably didn't go back to bed for the next few weeks.
It's interesting. It's interesting that in speaking to guys like yourself, been around, do enough deals, provide good customer service. Some of the feedback was that they didn't need to go the extra one. It was almost like putting fuel on the fire.
Yes, correct.
What are your thoughts on
I
that?
would 100% agree. If anything, I think that extra one, if I was really honest, was probably detrimental, if anything, because it was heading in the right direction, and I think that sort of sustained slower growth was probably better for the building industry than this really sharp growth that's happened.
Okay, and I guess the clients you're dealing with, is it varying? Is it because a lot of people have the perception it's only the entry-level housing? But obviously you're dealing on, I guess, second, third home sort of markets. Which sector are you dealing with mainly? Which one's hottest?
Okay, so I would almost split that into different demographics in a way. Probably three chunks. You've sort of got your buyers that are looking in those new estates, like greenfields type estates. That's where it's definitely strongest, or was
Would
anyway.
you say sub 400 sort of?
Probably sub 5, maybe even sub 6, depending on the location. You know, like your areas like, off the top of my head, areas like Power Waters and Harrisdale and things like that. You can easily get up to 500-600 in there, and they're very, very popular.
And that injection's still been healthy for that too.
100%.
Where's it probably tapped out, do you think, where it hasn't had as much effect?
I would say anything over about 650 roughly. I mean, for that federal grant, I think the cap from memory is about 750 anyway. So the upper end of the market, to be fair, it's just not influenced by those grants anyway. People are outside of the income range, outside of the maximum package range, and everything like that. So that top sort of end of town, just unaffected, business as usual. But certainly, that sort of price point, sort of from 300 up to, let's say, 6, that's where it's really fueled the fire.
What's been the biggest challenges for, I think, the people that are going through this process? We're hearing a lot about timeframes with the grants, obviously, before the end of the year. What, someone in the industry, where's your play on it? Where is that going to be an issue? I guess the titles.
It probably depends on how the builders handled it.
Yep.
You know, it's been really interesting to see how the different builders and groups of builders have capped sales.
Yeah.
Some filled their books up as much as they possibly could.
Yeah. So that's across the board. We're hearing that a lot of companies that's happening.
Because we mentioned that last week.
Yeah.
Nigel Sattlery made some commentary that a lot of the big 4 or 5 have closed their books.
Some of them have. Others took a more sustained approach without sort of naming names. Some sort of filled their books up, shut up shop for a month or so when they tried to sort of get it all together. Others sort of cap pretty early and go, okay, well, this is what we think we can manage. And obviously in the background then, the amount of ramp up in terms of recruitment and everything's been huge, because coming off the back of COVID, where there was stand downs in a lot of cases, all of a sudden you now needed to close on, doubling your workforce size overnight.
It's just crazy to think people are going from getting JobKeeper to keep the doors open to doubling the workforce.
I think from a business perspective for builders, extremely challenging, and especially because it's anyone that was going to build is definitely building now. People that were thinking about it are definitely building now, and it's definitely brought forward a lot of those buyers. So it sort of remains to be seen what happens other side of the grants. I would assume that it's going to be a little bit of a quieter sort of period.
Do you think they will extend it from what you're hearing?
I heard that in terms of timeframes to get the site work commencing in order to qualify, or do you mean actually extend the grant timeframe?
From what we're understanding, I think a lot of people are hearing that it's end of the year is the cut-off. But obviously if things are in play and you're waiting on titles, government departments, there must be some You would think a buffer there, would you not?
Yeah, so the timeframes were pretty short, realistically, and one of the other challenges that I guess the industry as a whole had was, again, COVID. All of the land developers started, taking the pedal off in terms of development, civil works, getting titles and everything. Then all of a sudden, all of the land, titled land anyway, it's like gone very, very quickly, and they're trying to build it quickly enough, get it through Landgate, get the titles, and all of that sort of thing. So. In terms of getting build contracts out, which is like your lump sum sort of build contract, that's the target that all the builders are chasing. That needs to be signed by December 31st.
Okay.
And you need to have your site works commence in WA anyway, within 3 months, no, within 6 months for the state grant, within 3 months for the federal. So there was all these different rules and things like that. The federal grant, they said they did come out and say that they will look at granting exemptions and extensions in extenuating circumstances where it was out of the buyer's control and things like that. Whether delayed titles will be one of those, I don't know.
That's what we had in East Perth. There was a few years ago when the credit crunch came on, off the planned developments, and you had, I think it was ANZ, stopped lending in certain suburbs. But they'd already sold so many apartments with minimum deposit, and then they said we won't lend on that. So they've got to be really careful how they navigate this, because you potentially got finance approvals in place, starting works, and then if the parameters change around the grants. So
Is there any concern around, you mentioned labour before, obviously at the moment it's really hard to get into the state, people are on job seeker, you know, and so that there's that factor as well, plus mining's ramping up. So is there a concern about having labour shortages?
100%. Yeah, and I think that's one of the biggest challenges that the industry as a whole will face, is then delivering on all of the builds, which is why you see these caps and things in place, because it's all very well to have these grants, but the builders need to be responsible as well, like you still need to deliver on what you promise. One of the biggest challenges will be brickwork, because that inherently takes on project sort of style homes anyway, that are applicable for these sort of grants, 1 to 2 weeks. So there's inevitably going to be a bottleneck there, and all of those rates for brickies and things have already started to increase. So
it's just these conversations. It just rewinds me back to 2014.
That's
all
all,
over.
as you're talking about the brickies
Like,
in
I was going to hear
particular.
about, and then we it's an interesting thing, which is a bit tangent to this, but we started talking about alternatives to bricks because we couldn't get enough bricks out of the ground. I think Buckridge was talking about it.
Yeah, you were.
And now we've got a situation with the exact same thing. We didn't learn anything.
Now, why aren't they
potentially
doing
from
more
that.
steel framed or framed homes? It's like,
But even the policies we didn't learn last time. We're obsessed with boom or bust in WA. It seems to be.
And everyone talks about sustainability, so that really hasn't been bolted in too well, has it?
yeah, I think a lot of the builders have still tried to explore that lightweight internal construction, but the hard part over here is the trade base. It's just not what we're used to doing, especially for large volume. Anyway,
Even
It's
so,
not the same on the East Coast. They don't use
over East,
brick.
no, I mean, that's
They
why
do
the
chip
block.
rock
That's why they build a home in 3 weeks on the block.
bang, bang.
But over here, the problem is when we're selling a property and we talk about young buyers coming through, and typically mum or dad or grandparents coming through, the first thing they do is
It's
just
not
start
double
knocking
brick.
on every wall.
Yeah.
Oh, what's this? What's this? The kids are just like, oh, this would be
It's not
perfect.
double
for me.
brick.
The environmental codes are the same.
But mate, you go to Shender Park, Subiaco, Netherlands, to all the old Federation homes. What are they? Timber frame with
Yeah.
Crazy.
stud walls.
Yep. Beautiful. That was excellent, Ryan.
Very insightful.
Thank you. So
That
insightful.
was actually quite insightful and intelligent. So
told-
Shane, we're out of a job, mate. You're
I
here.
told you.
This would be
told
off
you I had a
market.
good
as long as I
guess.
didn't sound like a bumbling idiot, that's fine.
No, mate, you're right. You might now though, because we're throwing to Ross, and it's Ross's. It's under the hood with Ross. We're changing up the questions this week, Roscoe.
Mate, we have. Mate, I've been very quiet today, so I'm feeling a little bit.
I know
sort of,
you have been quiet, haven't you?
Shane, because Shane's got my seat, and it's really,
Oh, is that what's
upset my
throwing you?
mojo. It's the Quan has shifted, and I'm sort of not. It's
With these
got-
lights, I'm actually getting a tan from it.
Mate, it's about the vibe. Okay. Ryan, what do we got here, mate? Okay, so first question is, what has been the highlight of your career so far? Aside from today, what has been the highlight of your career?
I think I'll have two there. I thought about this beforehand, and I'm
She's
sure
good sales with alternate clothes.
I'm sure that it's probably the same for you guys as well, and that is the first deal you ever do.
Yeah.
Right, that was a moment, certainly, and I felt as awkward as the people that were signing the paperwork, I think, and I couldn't believe when they were putting pen to paper. I'm
You
like,
were shaking.
it's
like that.
happening,
That's why
it's happening.
DocuSign's good for rookies. Yeah.
So
I tore my hamstring running back to the car.
Well, I sold mine to a bike.
On your first deal.
No, it felt like it because I was just like, they're doing it. We're doing it.
What else did you do? It's like, okay.
How long?
Yeah,
Sorry,
so
mate, this is about him, not you.
So I would say that was definitely one of them, of course.
Yeah,
I'm sure it was with you guys too. And then I actually had a couple of really good months leading into the grants just before. And funnily enough, when the grants hit, I pretty much burnt myself out, if I was perfectly honest. But I sold 21 or 22 between April and May prior to that grant period. And there's some pretty
tough period,
pretty significant numbers for that point in time without the grants. So I was pretty chuffed with that. So I'd say that would be a highlight.
true.
A lot of work.
Did you have any good marketing teams helping you with that? Or?
I did, actually, funnily enough.
It reminds me, but literally, when you talk about how getting through those tough times, you know, in Forrest Gump, when he couldn't catch a shrimp, and everyone gets wiped out, and you're last man standing. Literally, I think for the builders, the guys, the quality will be better. The level of service is going to be better because you had to be.
Yeah.
Because it was so tough.
It's just about working hard.
Yeah.
You know, like the deals were still there during the tough time. You just had to work for them, you know. And you're exactly right. It's about providing great service and over servicing people during that
See,
period.
Ryan,
It's
see,
exactly the
Forrest
same as
Gump had
say.
here, Captain Dan.
Lieutenant
Dan.
Lieutenant.
Stupid is, stupid does. Sorry, mate. Sorry. Right. Sorry, mate. Okay, we're moving on. Okay, COVID's over. The borders. Well, see, the thing came out today. All the states have agreed to the Prime Minister to open the borders by Christmas, except Western Australia. So they've said, no, keep your virus out.
Yep.
So, mate, when it's all said and done,
Yep.
you obviously need a well-earned holiday. Where are you going?
It's a simple one, but I normally go up to Canggu in Bali 3, 4, 5 times a year for little short breaks, as you guys would know with this sort of gig. If you get a little opportunity, you take it and you just book it and you go. I love that spontaneity, and I need thick tropical air. I really, really miss that at the moment.
Your tans look
Other than that, we'd love to go over to Croatia. We're supposed to go in July, but wasn't able to make it over there. So.
Cool.
Yep, that's where I'm
Very
headed.
nice, very nice.
Netflix, mate. So everybody talks about Netflix. Everyone's had a bit more time on their hands. Give us a Netflix recommendation. And not Ozark. I can't do Ozark.
No.
Please.
So
Probably not the industry to be in.
It's weird. It's weird.
I don't get much time for TV, to be honest. I'm working so much. But I did actually get stuck into something called Money Heist the other day, which is...
Oh, that's the dubbed one.
Did you watch the dubbed one or the
No, Spanish. I prefer to watch subtitles, more
I've
authentic.
heard if you can change the whole thing.
Yeah.
The one with, it's just not right. It's a bit like Monkey Magic. Remember it used to be like...
Yeah.
But I've heard the one you're watching is
But
the
I
one.
found the cinematography is like beautiful. I like really pretty things to watch and look at when I'm watching movies and things like that. And it's done really, really well. Nice. And story's pretty good as well. Once it starts kicking on into the later...
Whoa.
Yeah,
I'm not
this will be
up to where he is.
spoiler alert.
Okay, I won't.
Okay, mate. We've all got phobias and fears.
Yep.
What's yours?
Was thinking about this, and I didn't know whether you meant like spiders, sharks, or something deeper than that. I don't know.
Yeah, whatever.
Sharks, definitely, if I'm in the water, for sure.
Recessions.
Building grants.
That, it's a pretty deep one, but I would say that actually running out of time to do everything that I want to do while I'm alive.
Hey.
That's pretty fair.
Oh,
Like running out of time. I think that's probably one of my biggest fears,
Have
to
you got a
achieve
bucket
everything that I
list?
wanted to achieve. In my head, yeah. Yeah, not written down, but yeah.
I'll be thinking about that for the rest of the night. Thanks, mate.
Yeah.
Why
So
am I here?
I've always said when you die, you should go to the grave with a whole heap of unfulfilled dreams, but at the same time, a massive amount of fulfilled dreams. So you should never stop dreaming.
Absolutely.
And one day,
Yep.
that's my philosophy on that. Sorry, I don't catch that.
Preacher Ross, you're always bringing the
Oh,
goods.
they don't call me Nostradamus for nothing. Righto, okay. Rostradamus, I love it. Oh my God, that is gold.
That's
Give
awesome.
yourself a bit of a clap for that one, Rana. Yes, well done.
Have to go on the business card, that one.
Yeah, Rostradamus. I love that. Okay, mate, you're working hard, you're selling properties,
Yep.
you said before you hit almost burnout. What's your decompression? What's your decompression chamber outside of work?
I would say it's pretty simple, really. Exercise, usually. Look, perfectly honest, it's textbook salesperson, sports, golf, cycling, squash, that type of very cliche type things.
That's all good, mate.
Just hitting the pub to have dinner, grab a beer, that's always good.
Nice.
And one other thing, actually, I was going to bring it as a little prop, but I forgot. I've started laying on this. I was having trouble sleeping, and because my mind was racing and that sort of thing at night, and got this little mat now, which is like
A Shakti
8,000
mat?
spikes. Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah, and laying on that, it's painful. right? But
How
I've been
long?
sleeping so much
Where
better.
do you
What,
like
you're
lay on
pain-
your back?
You're in pain during the night.
No. You lay on the mat for about, I don't know, 20 minutes to an hour.
I thought you
before
meant
bed.
overnight.
Like-
Yeah, it's like
God.
acupuncture, yeah.
You can
Actually
get them
really
just for your
great.
feet. They're supposed to be amazing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
What's that? What actually is that?
It's, think of like the bottom of a golf shoe with the
Yeah.
spikes,
Oh, yeah.
except they're razor sharp and
Yeah.
it's a mat and it's probably got, it's got up to 8,000 spikes on it. And
Yeah.
you lay on your back and it hurts.
Yeah.
And then it starts to feel a bit warm sort of thing as you're laying
That's
on
the
it.
blood, mate.
Yeah.
Getting out of your body.
Blood oozes out.
But it really has helped me get to sleep quickly and stay asleep. It's been great.
Hey, there you go. I like that.
So that's, one of the things
Jess,
I
I know
wanted to
that, mate, there's one question being removed here, but Jess, I'm
Oh,
sorry.
go.
Shane, it's been removed.
No, go ahead.
It's like, mate, this one, the most important question. We're going to have to chuck it back in.
Yeah.
I'll get in trouble later for this.
Yep.
Mate, just where's your favourite restaurant or favourite dish?
Oh, we went. Do you know what I'm a big fan of? Huge fan of. My girlfriend got me this package sent from them and everything for my birthday. Guzman and Gomez. It's just
Oh,
a
yeah.
takeaway Mexican
Yeah.
restaurant,
Yes,
but I am
finally.
a massive fan of that place. And
Finally, someone
I
has
think
given
I've topped
me...
about 100 Uber Eats orders from them.
Wow.
Yeah. I actually emailed them and asked if I could get my face on their bag, but I said no. Has to be stuff.
Mate, you look a bit Mexican. You know, you can be
Yeah.
a little
Actually,
gringo.
Actually, one of my old clients owns the restaurant out in Belmont, and I asked him for some merch when I signed him up for the house. Got nothing. not a pair of socks, not a hoodie. Nothing.
Maybe now.
No.
Yeah, hoodie. Okay.
All right.
Well,
That was beautiful, Ross.
Yeah.
I loved that.
Am I in
like
trouble?
Your new shows. No,
Chris gave me
you
bad
new
look.
questions. No, you're not in trouble.
Okay.
Now, there's one last segment that we're going to do today before. Look at Shane's like. Before we go to Play of the Week, it's going to be tied into Play of the Week. Now, we've been talking a lot recently about established versus new homes, new home sales, and now we've got the perfect opportunity to finally answer the question. So, bring out the sweatbands. We're going to do.
New versus
We're doing Dezo versus Beaumont in an arm wrestle.
All right, boys.
Arm wrestle.
In an
Yes.
arm wrestle,
Oh, God.
Roscoe,
Sweatband, mate.
referee.
Look at the size of his guns. I'm going to lose this.
Sweatband, brother.
My arm will break.
Pop it on.
I got
Bring
the
it
Lorna
in.
Jane one.
What's the initials?
Oh, do I look good in yellow?
I think it's Perth College Football Club.
Ninja. Okay,
Where
so
am I?
Do we
boys,
stand up? We sitting
I
down?
don't know.
however you like. Come on. Okay.
Do you need a corner or?
I'm not sure.
Yeah,
we didn't
corner's
think this
best.
through, did
Corner's
we?
best. Corner's
We didn't
best.
think this through one bit.
I might chuck it if you
Do
want.
you have to sit down or stand up?
No, you can do it
stand up.
however you want, mate.
Okay.
Did you
Here we go.
sanitize your hand?
Dun, dun, dun.
We'll have to do it after.
Here we
Alright,
go.
Ross
New
is the
versus
referee.
old. And we're off, and Ryan's coming back in. Shane Beaumont's over by an inch,
Shane's
and
got
Ryan's
his
coming back
body
by
in
2, and Beaumont's putting
That's
more
too
pressure
strong.
on. He's coming over by 2 degrees. Come on, old homes versus new homes. Put it in, my
won't-
son.
I won't give up.
Don't give up.
That was so good.
Sorry, guys.
Brilliant.
Yeah, so
Right.
Very good.
one from one.
Round of
Might retire.
applause. Well done.
Trying to
Established.
make good
Just
sport next week.
pipping him at the post there, Shane. Well
Not
done.
under no warranty, but that's probably the difference.
No warranty. No warranty.
Not my arm either. But
All right. Play of the week. We do want to give one more shout out, Shane. Did you want to?
I've got two actually.
Oh, you've got two.
Two. First of all, I did see Kaylee and Claire
Kaylee Ferguson and
from
Claire
the
Nation.
Property Exchange. First of all, doing amazing things, but congratulations to them that believe they've become part owners in the business.
They have.
Which is a great story. I think that's in the industry to get to that level. Obviously, fantastic director there, so well done to them.
Well done, ladies.
And the next one is we talk about auctions and how important they are to deliver on the day. One job to rock up and get it right. I heard a strong rumour someone forgot the address of the property they were calling auction on the weekend.
Who would that be?
Wouldn't be Rostradamus, would
Is
it?
that true? Is that true?
It is true. Well, I was there. I had the address. I got to the house.
Was it the next property or you just got it
That
wrong?
was the wrong street.
Because I heard the person bidding was sweating thinking, what have I brought?
Yeah, I'm on the wrong street. Yeah, it was
There
me.
you go.
Yeah, well,
Roscoe.
true, mate. True.
Roscoe,
One chance, one
Roscoe.
option.
That's it.
Sees
mate.
everything you ever wanted.
Thanks, buddy.
All right, guys, what a show. Thank you so much, Ryan, for joining us
worries, mate.
today.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks to Bruno and the team at BGC Home for hosting us here in this incredible showroom. Once
is
again,
special, isn't it?
it is. It's really,
Yeah, it looks,
really
it looks
special.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, as far as I guess builder selection rooms go at the moment, this would be
Top
up
of the
there with
wazza.
the best
Make your
at,
job
at, this
easier
at this point in time.
Yeah.
It's very impressive.
Yep.
Yeah.
Beautiful. So if you do want to check it out, they're on Walter Drive in Osborne Park. Come on in anytime.
Cannot miss
And
it.
you can have a free coffee as well. When you come
Really?
in. Yeah, free coffee. So, any topics, results, anything you want to share with the show, please hit us up on Facebook or Instagram, and we will see you next episode.
Including property managers. There's some
Including property
incredible
managers.
stories with property management. Let us know how many people get in home opens.
Let's get a property manager.
Let's see if we can see the largest turnout. Send
Yeah.
in the largest turnout.
a competition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I
You
like
can't
that.
get mates.
Largest turnout for her.
For a home open.
How many people turn
Oh,
up for
right.
a property manager?
Bars
Okay.
are set with 100 and that's
120.
that was obviously a sale.
Yeah,
but the
yeah.
rentals are going stupid.
Rentals are nuts. Yeah.
There you go.
Thank you. See you next
you.
time.
Bye.
Bye.